word that comes to mind when I think about Jesus is powerful.
Kind.
I think about the word peace.
Loving and caring.
Life, because he sacrificed his life to give us ours.
Is Jesus God, or is God Jesus, or are they the same person?
What's it like being the most powerful person to ever walk on earth?
What did he do on his downtime?
Why does he love us so much?
He's a person who loves and cares for me.
My role model.
A very safe place to talk to.
Jesus is a friend.
If I'm dealing with anything, I know I can go to him and he'll help me through it.
We're in our final week of our series called Who is Jesus? Over the last few weeks, we've been learning more and more about who Jesus really is and what that means for us. And we've talked about how it's okay to ask questions like this because it can help us grow our faith. Now, I want to know this. How many of you have someone in your life who gets you? That's your friend who understands you without a word, that sibling that always knows what you're thinking, that person in your life you just know you can be yourself around, no questions asked. Now, maybe you know where I'm going with this. After all, we're at church. I mean, don't I have to say that Jesus can be that person for all of us? The one who really, truly understands us, the one who gets it? Well, I definitely don't have to say it, but if you were thinking it, that I was gonna say that, then you're right. Because today, we're gonna talk about who Jesus is to all of us, and that's someone who understands. Now, let me address another obvious question here. How can a guy who lived thousands of years ago understand anything about what we're going through today? And that's a great question. I mean, what does Jesus really know about any of the things that we struggle with today? Did all his friends say they were too busy to hang out, but then posted that they were hanging out together? Did he get called in class and blurt out an answer that was super embarrassing? Did he get cut from the team? Did his classmates make fun of him? Did his parents get divorced? Did his siblings fight with him all the time? The truth is, there's always gonna be trouble somewhere in our lives. We're all going to face it, and those moments that we need someone who really gets us, but honestly, it just doesn't always feel like Jesus is gonna be that someone. Maybe you found yourself wondering if God even notices or cares when you deal with trouble. When it comes to the hard stuff in life, how can Jesus be the one who understands if it doesn't even seem like he's there? It can be pretty hard to deal with sometimes. Well, it may surprise you to know that while Jesus was on earth, he had plenty of experience with trouble himself. I know this because his friends and followers took time to write down everything they saw Jesus say, do, and experience. When we read about Jesus' life in the Bible, we're reading about real things that really happened to a real person who really lived. The more I read about Jesus, the more I know him. For me, knowing Jesus changes everything. And what I've learned from getting to know more about Jesus is that when it comes to trouble, he saw it all. Ditched by your friends, so was Jesus. Felt like everybody hates you, he experienced that too. Are you sad or alone? Jesus felt that. Been tempted, hungry, tired, angry, frustrated, or hurt? Those are all things Jesus dealt with as well. I don't know about you, but I don't always think about Jesus struggling or having troubles. Sometimes it's easy to forget that Jesus was a real person who had real life experiences and difficulties. Somehow in my mind, Jesus is kind of like a superhero. He seems more like a Marvel superhero than a real actual person with real actual problems. But that's not the whole picture, because as much as Jesus was fully God, he was also fully human. So that means that when we experience trouble, he gets it. He's been there. And because of that, we can trust him not only to understand, but to help us through it. So let's start by looking at something that Jesus said about the troubles we might face in this life. A guy named John wrote down his statement, and Jesus made the statement to his friends. And he said this: "In this world, you will have trouble, but take heart. I have overcome the world." Okay, so let's look at that hard stuff first. One thing that's guaranteed in this life: trouble. It's part of life so much that Jesus made sure his followers knew it. In this world, we will all have trouble. And that by itself is a real bummer. Thank goodness that's not where Jesus left it. See, when it comes to our troubles, it's not that Jesus has been there too. Here in this verse, Jesus says, been there and conquered it. That means Jesus not only gets how we feel, but he can help us deal with it. Sometimes he uses people to support us. Sometimes he uses his word to help us find peace and comfort. Sometimes he uses his commandments to keep us away from trouble in the first place. And sometimes he uses his spirit in our lives to make us stronger when we're facing tough times. I don't know what that looks like in your life or for the trouble you're facing, but here's what I know for sure. No matter what it is, Jesus gets what you're going through and he can help. Does that mean that everything will always be easy? No, of course not. Will we never face trouble, never get left out, lose a friend, get hurt? Unfortunately not. Remember, Jesus told us trouble was something that we could expect in this world. But that's not where the story ends, because whatever we faced, Jesus has faced. And not just that, he's handled it, he conquered it, and that means he can help us conquer that too. Think of it this way, because of Jesus, you're never alone. When you face trouble, when you feel left out or misunderstood, when you're struggling with something that's bigger than you can deal with alone, you've got Jesus. The friend who came to earth to experience it with you, the friend who understands, the friend who gets it, the friend who doesn't want you to do it alone. Remember, because of Jesus, you're never alone. Earlier, I asked you to think about one area of your life where you're experiencing trouble. Maybe it's with your friends or at school or in your family or on your team. Maybe it's something only you know about right now. Whatever it is, as you think about that, I want to challenge you to try 3 things. First, talk to Jesus about your troubles. Sometimes the word pray sounds fancy and we don't even want to try it, right? Well, praying is just talking to Jesus. So this week, I want you to find a quiet place and just spend some time talking to Jesus about what's going on in your life. If you don't want to talk out loud, write it down, type it in your notes on your phone, or just say it in your mind. No matter how you do it, Jesus is listening and wants to be there for you no matter what you're going through. Second, talk to his people about your troubles. Have you ever had a real friend show up for you when you were down? It always helps, right? A lot of times Jesus uses his people to help overcome whatever we're facing. That's one of the reasons why I want everybody to seek out somebody that they trust that's a friend or an adult. When you're going through something, you don't have to go through it alone. In fact, one of the best things you can do is share that with that trusted friend or adult so that they can encourage you, pray for you, and check in with you. No matter how lonely or tough times may feel, you're never really alone. In fact, you may just find that Jesus shows up for you through the support and encouragement of that trusted person. And third, be with others when they hurt. Remember Jesus' words, in this world, we will have trouble. That means all of us. So there's a good chance that someone near you, someone in your home or at your school is going through something too. And maybe one of the ways Jesus shows up for them is through you. This week, try checking in on your friends. Send a text, offer some encouragement, pray for them, pray with them. The truth is, when you show up for someone who's hurting, it helps them see that they're never alone either. Remember, because of Jesus, you're never alone. And as you head out today, I want you to think about this question. What's one area of your life where you need someone who truly understands?